everyone. So, if you have an active family court case, then you know how quickly the hearings come up, and they could be a little jarring. For the longest time, I would feel nervous with a hearing just approaching, even a week out. So, I found that preparing a few days before the hearing actually prepares me as well as my nervous system. And I think it's really important because otherwise it can feel a little intimidating. So preparation is important so you can prepare yourself, your mind, your emotions to deal with any unexpected questions that may arise or any kind of impromptu things that may occur there. Because if you are not regulated and you're not emotionally stable, those things will knock you off your rocker and you may appear to be a little erratic or a little unstable. So, let's see. So, for technical help, number one, you want to gather your documents early. So, that means any hearing notices or any filings, you want to review those and look at the details that may possibly be addressed. So, any concerns that may have been outstanding from the last hearing or any concerns that are specifically written into the motion from you or the opposing party. You want to become very familiar with those, basically kind of verbatim. You want to practice them because if you are asked a question about it, you can just tap right in and just say, oh yeah, I reviewed that. Yep, this is where we are. Put together notes on prior concerns with like of unresolved issues. So like, say for example, it's not in the filing, but you have it, it's something that's going on with your co-parent that is just kind of like annoying. And it's something that needs to be addressed in court, but it has not officially been addressed yet. Keep it in your notes because the judge may ask something pertaining to that, and I'm not saying that you need to definitely mention this, but if it's relevant, you need to keep it in mind because it may be relevant to what happens in the future, any type of decision that the judge makes in the future. If you have a pre-existing conflict, but it's not addressed in the motion because it happened after the motion, you still want to keep it fresh in your mind. And then you also want to kind of incorporate a timeline, but that is another topic. Just for now, put that in your binder that you take to the hearing. Two, you're going to create your binder, right? You're going to print any exhibits and put them in a simple folder, including timelines or important dates. This could be anything to do with like parent drop-offs, pickup drop-offs, anything to do with school, anything relevant to what you are, what the conflict is in court. So what I have done in the past is I've created a timeline as we progress through the months. And once it's time for a filing, then I compile that. I usually use a calendar and I compile all those dates and then I just kind of create a timeline. They all don't have supporting documents, but I'll create a timeline and then I'll print that as an exhibit for the court. Let's see. You want to also add any future hearing dates and deliverables. So if you have a hearing now, you probably also have one scheduled for future. Everybody's court case is different, but the way mine is working is that I go to hearings now, but I also have some already planned for future for other issues. So what I do is I make sure I understand. It took me a while to get here. It takes practice, but once you when you're representing yourself, once you realize that the judge expects a certain amount of professionalism from you, then you have to show up as if you are the attorney. So you need to be on task about what's going on at these future hearings because it may be addressed at your current hearing or status check, and they want to see where you are. Where are we still dealing with this issue? Is this something that we're moving forward on? Do you have any new feedback on it? You want to be prepared for future dates as well. Let's see. It just also keeps you very organized. That does not hurt. The judge and the court really appreciates a organized, self-represented litigant because that puts less stress and pressure on the court because then they're going to be doing the work for you too. And that is exhausting for everyone. So you just kind of want to do your part. So let's see, what else do we have? Emotional and energetic preparation. It's really important. If you've been following me at all, you know that I focus a lot on emotional regulation and like basically nervous system, breath work, energy clearing, things like that. Those are things that actually keep you steady and calm and regulated. And I think it's really important. So a few days prior to your hearing, I would say sit down with yourself and name your triggers. What's something that is possibly triggering you about the case, about your co-parent, about the judge, about their attorney, anything that is making you feel like, hey, you know, this is bothering me on a level, you know, and it's not something that you can just brush off. I would suggest naming that trigger and saying, okay, this is not for me, because it might come up during the hearing and it could activate you and it can make you appear hostile, and you don't want that. So I would definitely just name it, which is the first step to loosening its power or its grip on you. And then next, I would suggest sitting with it gently. Okay, ask yourself, what actually triggered me? How did it make me feel? Is this pattern a reoccurring pattern? And how do I want to respond differently this time? This actually happened to me, and my trigger was notifications from the court. And because when you're self-represented, you have to manage the email workflow, and one after another they were coming, and it was just kind of like, okay, I'm exhausted with keeping up with this, and it turned into a trigger, which I didn't realize, but it kind of unhinged me a little bit, because I was like, okay, another court notification, another one. Then one day, months later, I just was like, I think these notifications are spiking my cortisol and my adrenaline and making me a little bit angry. And once I realized that and I named it in real time, I was like, oh, I feel better. It is really that simple. We do not realize that actually is a trauma response. Anxiety and being dysregulated is a trauma response. And the smallest thing can trigger trauma. If you already have it in your body, things that you overlook, things that you don't even realize that it's bothering you, it can trigger you and it can send you down a spiral. So you want to sit with it gently, and you just want to say, okay, how am I going to deal with this next time? Then 3, you want to clear your energy. This is optional, but it's very powerful. I do it. It's okay to name it and sit with it and release it, but you also want to clear your energy. And how I do that is I speak it out loud or quietly. I think that it's better to say things out loud. It just gives it a little bit more power. You want to say, this issue is not mine to carry. I release it to a power greater than myself. That is the language that I use, but you can totally use whatever makes sense for you. You can also use a clear quartz crystal to sweep the energy away from your body while affirming the release. This is it's a way to activate your intention, and I highly recommend it. It's not required. Just naming it and sitting with it is enough, because you're calling it out. But that extra step does kind of help speed up the healing for you, so to speak. So so that's that part. Now, on the day of the hearing, you want to make sure that you have some tools that will help you stay calm and regulated. You want to do these before the hearing too, but say for instance you don't have time. Say you got too busy and you forgot. Some quick breathwork tools you can use before or during the hearing. We have the physiological sigh, and that's the one where you take a deep breath and then you sip and you hold it and then you release it. And then so I have a video on that one on Instagram if you want to check it out, or I can link it. And then there is a box breathing. You do an inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. That one is really simple. That's one that my son is actually doing in his summer camp. So it's just that easy. But these calm you. They make you feel less anxiety. And the last one is the 4-7-8 breath, where it's kind of similar to the one I just mentioned, the 4-4-4, but it's 4-7-8, and you inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. And that longer hold and exhale actually is how your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated. So the first one is the quickest relief for anxiety, the physiological side. The second one is pretty simple. It's 4-4-4-4. It's really easy to remember, and in a like a situation like family court where your mind is kind of spinning, that might be the easier one to remember. And then the 4-7-8, it's pretty easy too. All of them are very easy. I would recommend adopting one or all of them just so you have them in your arsenal, because anxiety sneaks up on us, and sometimes you need it in situations where you least expect it. Like something can trigger you and you're like, now you're all flustered and you think you need to go, vent, or you need to go, whatever you do to keep yourself calm, sometimes it's blowing up on somebody. Instead of blowing up, do your breath work, and boom, you're gonna feel better and you can move on about your day. I'm still walking this journey with you. I had to learn all this stuff real time. I was looking for tips and tools online, just how to keep myself steady, and that's why I decided to create Se Gaia, is because I wanted a place that I can be able to work out the family court kinks as well as emotionally regulate myself, and I want to help other parents navigating high conflict family court to be able to do both. So if this resonated, please definitely like the video or share it. If you know someone that actually is struggling with family court issues, chaos, high conflict drama, things like that, please share the video, because I'm sure that it could help them. And our little community is growing, so it would be great to see more faces here. And let's see, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I appreciate you here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.